Welcome to our third webinar of the day. Today we're doing, or at least in this session, we're doing CloudRadial Chat AI and Service AI, revolutionary chat experience for no-touch resolutions. I want to be crystal clear. A lot of the stuff that we are looking at is going to be what we can do today versus what we're doing tomorrow, and really how we're getting there, which I think is really important because we looked at the numbers, we saw who attends these webinars, and I know there are a few of you that are just kind of dipping your toes, trying to figure it out. A lot of you are CloudRadial customers. You have one or multiple products of ours, and I want to paint a good picture. And again, I brought Chris here. I should introduce myself if you don't know me. I'm Ricky Cecchini. I'm the VP of Product at CloudRadial, and Chris is the Director of Conversational Interfaces, I believe. That's still the title as of an hour and a half ago, I think.
They haven't taken it away from me yet, so
seems pretty good. Which I think, at the end of the day, for those that need a even more simplified, Chris owns the chat stuff, right? So Chris is the progenitor of chat. He is the reason we have chat, and he is the linchpin to making chat improved to get these things accomplished. So again, this specific webinar, we're talking about how to go from I've never tried stuff to I now have a chat to triage, source answers, all the way down to the execution of automations to that full closed self-service loop and freeing up technicians, and basically how the two technologies, Chat AI and Service AI, are kind of converging to offer that. And again, the path we're going to take everybody to get that. So high level, again, I'll run the majority of this, but the gist is we're going to recap what we talked about in the past couple webinars if you haven't seen those. Give you a little mini demo of Service AI so you understand basically what it does. It's not a whole thing on it. Understanding our data model, meaning that I want you guys to be fully understanding and on board with how CloudRadial as a platform is approaching this. And again, start to finish the self-service flow. So how this actually plays out. Again, what you can do today, what you'll be able to do tomorrow, and how it all kind of comes together. So let's start with a little overview. Chris, can you explain, I'll put this on you, I'll put you on the hot seat for a second. Can you explain what CloudRadial Chat is, at least the starter version? Let's start there. What's the difference between starter and Chat AI? Because I've heard that question come up a couple times already.
Yeah, no, thanks, Ricky, and thanks for the introduction. And so CloudRadial Chat Starter is our new free offering. So it is a chat platform to let your customers communicate with you via chat, open tickets, and bridge that over into a live chat if you want. It supports the web and the client portal on the client side, so the customers can come in both those ways and chat with you. On the back end, it lets you stay inside of Teams or Slack if you prefer to handle those live chat requests. And everything gets tied back to the tickets in your PSN, and that's free. And we have a waiting list and are getting people on board with that now. Chat AI is taking that and adding to it some additional capabilities of AI-based triage, additional customer channels available like Teams and Slack for your customer side. So basically, it adds to that. But we took the core of what was good about chat as a platform that we already had here at CloudRadial and are using that to create this new chat starter offering for partners.
Perfect. And again, that's a great explanation, because again, some of the confusion is that, like, we have Chat Starter and Chat AI. They're not separate products. I mean, they're different versions. And most people are used to the traditional, like, you got like a good, better, best model. What we did is we purposefully named the first one Chat Starter versus Chat AI, because the first one is sans AI, no intelligent triaging well, triaging still exists, but no question answer gathering. And I'm going to cover why that is and how that's still going to be useful to get you towards that full self-service, because there's a plan to get into it, right? This isn't just a haphazard, like, yeah, some chat here, some chat there. So let's start with just a super quick recap of what we saw today, if you missed it. The first webinar that happened this morning was with our director of product, who is working closely with me. That's Dave Falkenberg. And then our director of customer success, which is Evan Griffith. They talked about Chat Starter. And again, this is actually new. So like Chris is saying, Chat Starter is almost like a retrofit from our original chat product. We cut off some stuff and made it free. because we're seeing a shift, and I'm seeing this. Obviously, I work in every facet of CloudRadial. I'm seeing a big shift from how customers, right, as they grow, as they evolve, interface with businesses. And obviously, MSPs are on the forefront of that, meaning that we're seeing a shift away from traditional portal interfaces to either portal plus chat, sometimes just chat. So the conversational thing is kind of inescapable. So we thought, hey, let's start getting people to get used to chat. Let's offer it for free. So at least we have a way to say, there's no reason not to start trying out chat. So the first webinar we talked about was, let's get you guys to provision it in a really easy, functional way that just kind of walks you through it. There's no need for crazy implementation or a whole plan. It's just like spin it up and try it out. And we're going to talk about why that's super important. And then Chris just got off this one, I think like literally an hour and a half ago. The difference, again, to that ChatAI is that triage element. So the AI portion of ChatAI is, again, collecting information. You see an example in my slide here where I say, like, okay, we've got like, I have an issue with the printer. Instead of just saying, got it, let's log a ticket, it goes, what about that printer? Give me an error, give me something. And the idea is enrichment of the ticket. So that way, not only can we slot it better into a good place, right? We're talking about putting it inside of the PSA in an appropriate location, but also questioning the user, making sure that the ticket comes in more complete. Nick talked about it with you, Chris, about the concept of completeness in a ticket to speed up the quickness of how you can resolve it. And I think ultimately the idea, correct me if I'm wrong, but is just getting people the right answers faster. That's the biggest difference between having a chat that says help and a chat that says help, comma, but here's what to help me with. And I think you've seen even in chat style, which is what CloudRadial Chat originally was, to now that is the biggest reason people come to you, I think, is to get that slotted in. Agree, disagree, feel free.
No, I definitely agree. I think that it brings up one of the good points about maybe hesitation for adoption of chat for MSPs to some degree is
Right.
The idea that that's going to mean that you have to be more responsive to your clients, to your customers in the area. You're already very responsive. This makes your customers more responsive to you,
Right.
in that they're not just saying, I have a problem. They're actually giving you some information, giving that your tech a chance to have a reasonable head start when they finally see the ticket. And so yeah, it's really about that.
Yeah, and that's kind of the reason that if you kind of pay attention to CloudRadial's brand, like the whole products, is we went from CloudRadial being synonymous with the portal, and that was it. Like CloudRadial was the portal, and then plus chat. It's almost like it was like and here's this. We've kind of changed that. And again, we've changed it, and I'll literally show you diagrams of how we see it and what we want to show you as an expectation. The portal is equivalent to chat, is equivalent to service AI, and we'll look at why in just a moment. So let's look at the evolution. I think this is going to help kind of paint a story. So we actually started with what we're now calling professional chat AI, right? That's kind of the mid-tier. That's what Chris is talking about with that AI triage, the AI information gathering, whatever. So then the second thing that came along, which is what we're doing now, and the reason, again, I'm not going to treat you guys like idiots. Like we're literally having call to actions to do Chat Starter because we want people to try it out, to understand it, to really start getting their users, right? Getting that channel open to familiarize users with the ability to chat, making it useful to you, not making it a pain in the butt. Because again, a generic chat, generic being like what any other website does, not MSP space, may, log some stuff, may send an email, but at least the PSA connection stuff really still gives you that nice head start, still gives you the group chat capabilities to handle the live chat. And then enterprise, which is like the big vision, is additional customization of workflows. That's when you've got a proof of concept, people are using it, you really know what you're doing with it, and you want to go to it. So the flow, we've made it more clear about how to get into it. So again, whether you've tried chat, didn't go so well, you don't really know where to start, you don't want to risk spending a bunch of money for something that may or may not work with clients. That's why we're like, pause for a second, let's clean up Chat Starter, let's get you in there, and then let's make this scale up with additional capabilities as it's proven. But what we want to do is we want to ultimately improve the service workflows, right? So where we come into a question now is like, okay, well, what really is needed to make this an exceptional client experience, which CloudRadial, again, as a brand, is all about client stuff. So make no mistake, we may be talking about service desk and chat and portal, whatever. We're still focused on how MSPs can deliver the best possible experience to clients, to your customers, right? Introducing, even though it's already been introduced, Service AI is it kind of a different thing? So again, I know this is kind of a two-part webinar. Service AI is something we're still building, and it's something that is supposed to take and organize the service desk in a way that measures the AI capability of the desk, meaning that if I ingest your tickets and your documentation and basically anything else you chuck at it, I want to spit back out at you kind of a readiness assessment, going like, how ready would your desk be for an AI takeover, right? If I told an AI bot to go take your history and answer a ticket, could it do it? Would it make sense? Would it embarrass you? You want to know that before you just whole hog launch that out to your clients through a chat, which is kind of part of the process. And people want to get to that ultimate AI full self-service. I would say, hold your horses, buddy. Let's test that thing out, right? So we're going to stop and not just talk about two straight to client channels, but we're going to talk about organizing that information and kind of analyzing it. So fundamentally, Service AI does really it's two things as far as I've seen it. I've been doing a lot of implementations for those that have tried it out. It's taking your history and again, understanding it from an AI readiness perspective, but it's also empowering technicians today. So for example, instead of ConnectWise, and I'll show you guys an actual example of Service AI, we're going to do again a micro demo. What that looks like is it's scraping your tickets, your documentation, and basically providing a resolution. And you can improve that AI. So even today, even if before it makes its way to clients, we're at least helping the techs get smarter answers, source their stuff, provide better notes, so that way the responses today are better. And then we're going to see how that carries through to full-on automated chat. So again, the big difference between having AI just answer tickets for you in a chat, right? So why not just use ChatAI? It already does this stuff. Is what you're missing is additional context and tone. Tone is the biggest differentiator between a chat that says, "Hi, I'm whatever bot," and one that says, "Hey, what's up, Ricky? I know you like to be talked to formally or casually or whatever." And Service AI enables kind of that intelligence. So at a super high level, this I feel like helps to understand this other product. Again, Service AI is fed your tickets, your documentation, your rules. It spits out insights to the desk. It also helps you test to see before it ever makes its way to clients, how does the response look like, right? So regression testing is, let's take a whole sample of tickets and say, yeah, let's rate them. Is this ready for client interface or not? Again, helping you get the techs get answers so your techs get smarter today. And if all of those things pass muster and you like what you're seeing, then you have a delivery channel through chat to answer that stuff, right? I'll go quick because I know we have a 30-minute demo here, and this is a lot of stuff and slides and images and whatnot. But let's literally say, like, how does this improve it? So again, if you've never seen it, this is a super quick, let's call it a sub 5-minute demo. This is Service AI. Again, this is a point to display. So I am now hooked up to my PSA system. It is now telling me with 3 scores that are repeated over and over and over again, basically the readiness of my desk. When I see 7.1 for tickets, what Service AI is automatically doing is it's looking at the ticket history. It's understanding the interactions between your companies, your clients, your agents, your technicians, right? And basically saying, how good is the data within your tickets for AI training? 7 out of 10, that's not bad. We can improve that, right? Better notes, better information, better documentation is going to raise that score because if we have more context to go off of, we have more context to both feed an AI bot and a human being. Agents is rating your technician score. So again, are they responsive? Are they having good interactions? Are they covering all the beats? And users are, how are the people you're supporting acting? Are they happy with your support? Could they be happier? Are they prickly? Do you need to know who to let go because they're just not jiving with the way you offer stuff? This approach, right, is very different than what CloudRadial has typically done because, again, CloudRadial has been synonymous with Client Portal, and that's fine. But the reality is to really nail the client experience, you have to go deeper than just Client Portal. You have to go meet the clients where they are, which is that chat interface, and also provide context and intelligence and meet people the way they want to be met. So again, we're going to keep this super high level, but an example of how this tangibly works is Service AI hooks into your stuff. It reads tickets. So let's go read a ticket on, I'll pick a random one, network connectivity. Okay, what's happening? So we're basically seeing that Michael put in a ticket and then John gave him some details, blah, blah, blah. And then basically we didn't get an update. So what Service AI immediately is able to do is analyze that ticket and say, I don't get a whole lot out of this as far as how to solve the ticket. The user is not super happy. The agent could do a better job. this thing can now offer a response. It can offer a way to improve that response, and offers a coaching opportunity for the technician. And this is basically the proof of concept to say, okay, we can take this information and feed it back. So Service AI as a tool, again, analyzes these things, improves the responses, and offers you a literal way for a technician to go, I'll use that. Rating the responses, saying, yes, this is good, no, it's not good, and improving that almost checkpoints the service desk to not have to keep answering the same questions over and over again, but say, this is the best answer for this based off of these past tickets and these articles and so on and so forth. This is a very high level gist, but it's super powerful. So why, if we're talking about, right, let's stick to our North Star, that full self-service experience, why am I showing you a bot or a thing that answers questions and tickets? Well, again, when it comes time to putting that chat in front of people, the best power is that customization. So with Service AI, reading your past history and getting the context out of people, organizing that by, let's say, company, right? Being able to say, okay, we know that Summit Financial Advisors has these issues. We know that they like to be answered this way. We know that their tickets are so-so. We can even say, we can use formal language when we talk to that. The delivery mechanism in which a client gets these rules in this context is chat. Because when a person starts a chat, when Service AI feeds that into Chat AI, you now have systems that give additional context and everything else in one. This is the big picture, and this is what we've been working on as one of those core triangles. So if I swap back over here, basically, I want you guys to understand how CloudRadial is moving as a company, to understand how it supports your clients. So the three pillars, and I know one of these is not even supposed to be mentioned in the webinar, but it gives a big piece of the puzzle, is UCP. We renamed our portal, which has been called CloudRadial, as is, to CloudRadial CSA, Client Services Automation, we renamed it again to Unified Client Portal. Why? Do we love three-letter acronyms? Who doesn't, Chris? I'm sure we all do. But we did it because we wanted to start to clarify really well what each thing does and how it fits the client support model for MSPs. So again, in this triangle model, the UCP is the tangible interface, right? You need a client to go get a QBR, you need a client to go touch an assessment or see a report. That's that, right? That's something that they can go into, log into, access. We're familiar. We do this all the time with bank apps and airline stuff. You log into a place, you touch it, you see it, you log into your account, all that kind of stuff. Again, Service AI, what we just saw a really brief snippet of, is the intelligent and alignment engine, meaning it's taking your past history, applying rules to it, saying, here's how far off base your techs are from what you want to see. Let's fix that. Let's get that right. Let's add readiness, meaning that, like, if I want to start applying rules and I want to say it should look like this and our documents are out of date, it starts tightening that stuff up. But the linchpin and the reason you're here and the reason that we've had so much stuff and the reason Chris is sitting here listening to me blab for 18 minutes uninterrupted, sorry, Chris, I brought you on here to soapbox.
You're good.
Is for the conversational interface, right? So this all kind of falls apart if we have this cool platform that is tangible. We have this intelligence engine that powers all this stuff and feeds answers. How you're going to deliver that value to your customers, right? So we know the core benefits. And I think you've been saying this since day one, Chris, because the biggest issue, even when we first talked, when I first met you, was MSPs like chat. But I believe the problem was I don't have the staff to man something 24/7. And I think that was the impetus for AI. And let's pause for a second because I know we have a little bit of time. Why did you put AI into the chat first? Why didn't you just make a chat bot? Like, why? What was the point for you?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So part of it was that the triage capability, like to know that that we needed to be able to do a little more than just capture that I have a problem. At the same time, even from the earliest stages on, I knew that the AI that I was adding was a stepping stone to something else. Originally, it's a stepping stone to a live chat. Early on, the MSPs I talked to, friends and coworkers and things, said there's got to be a person, right? Like there's got to be. It can't just create a ticket.
Right.
And so then that is still true, and I think it's one of the unique things about this three-pronged attack here that we have. This setup is there always is going to be the potential to bring in a person. But now we've reached a point that I couldn't have even guessed a year ago, where Service AI might give us enough insight to solve that problem. Not just generic, like, oh, did you try to turn it on and off again, but actually know the history of this user, this company,
Yes.
and have a smart answer for them that might solve their problem.
That's it. I mean, I'm glad you see that. And this is something else that I've been challenging MSPs to not only understand, but think bigger than the ticket. Because again, I'm a hypocrite. I just got off of showing you something called Service AI, which is obviously heavily based on service. But I like where you're going because that's what we've talked about. The big picture for CloudRadial now is going beyond service, looking at service as a component of the client happiness, right? Obviously, you're going to have bad CSATs, unhappy clients if your service is not good. And I think a lot of MSPs think service first. So I think an organizer, an alignment, a insight tool for that makes sense for us. The portal is our bread and butter, right? That's CloudRadial's flagship of how we started and whatever. The history, really. The chat is where we're seeing interfaces, right? The reason that Chris is here and the reason that he works on all this stuff is because chat becomes more and more of a demand. And again, the more the workforces become younger, the more chat is the de facto way to interact with these resources. People don't want to wait on emails. They don't want to call anymore. They want to do this stuff. So these are the empowerment things. So I'm gonna get to my core bit here. So this is how the actual self-service works or will work, right? This is what we're envisioning. When a client starts a chat asking for help, I said assistance with a ticket, but I really should have said help. This is what's actually happening. So Chat AI is able to go, we'll use Chris as an example, right? It's Chris Dix. He is the CEO of this chat company, but he's a client of ours. So what's happening? He passes it off to Service AI. Service AI goes, I know the tone in which I should speak to Chris. He's the CEO. I know that Chris is really, really testy, a very mean guy. If you know him, he's vicious. You can probably tell. So I need him to have escalated links right off the bat. So when the chatbot is talking, it knows who he is, the way he likes to be spoken to, the way his company should be spoken to, but more importantly, the resources Chris has available to him, right? And this is where the UCP stuff comes into play. If Service AI is like the traffic controller, then Service AI is doing the job where it goes, again, Chris is CEO, he has his tonal preferences, he has his resources. So if Chris asks me for example, an automated option, right? Say Chris goes, I need a password reset. Then the base of operations where that actually comes from and gets executed would be the portal, because that serves as our resource hub, for lack of a better term, right? So Service AI informs how it works, Chat AI serves it up and serves the interface, and that UCP serves as the base of operations for that. So run it, call it a day, right? And this is how the thing goes from complete self-service. Chris goes, it talks to me the way I want to from a user expecting, or rather user experience, it's complete. Say it's not a resource, and this is where the challenge comes in. What if you want that same concept and that same power beyond the ticket? And this is more like I'm talking to account management, I'm talking to just people that work with clients. What if Chris asked me for an executive report, or Chris asked me for courses to send his people, right? Instead of just thinking of a support bot, if Chris could get served the appropriate courses or go, maybe it says, hey, here's that executive report I pulled from you. That's something we want to know. We want to know his devices, his access, his reports, being able to pull those things. And that's why that kind of triangle analogy works really well for us. So all in all, I'll bring it back up. This is why we've brought the weight of chat up and Service AI up so quickly, because we see those three things coming together really well. Now, you don't have to have all three of them together to make this thing worth it or work, but we foresee a really easy model where we have all these three working. If you've seen anything about our UCP, you've seen that we're trying to push out a lot of API stuff, because our real idea is that by funneling whatever you want inside of UCP, we can use that to serve up to your customers, right? So we're opening up our portal to be open to whatever. Our chat is being a smarter server of the goods, right? And Service AI is the traffic controller routing all these things and making sure the quality is consistent, both to the client and internally to the desk. So long story short, how far off that are we today? What can you actually do today? So today, we urge you to get free chat started, not because we're just like, start there, but because we need you to get those clients familiar with chat. So there's no point in getting a hyper crazy chat thing in front of clients if they're not used to using it. So free chat is a safe way to begin it. It's a safe way to test the waters and to get their habits built. You can always go to that professional tier, that AI triage chat. If you need that need, you can get there. Service AI and UCP, again, I know a lot of you already have the portal, but that's a good start too, because again, you can start assessing, do you have the right resources, or are you just going to offer a support bot, right? Do you have understanding of how people want to be talked to? Who's a landmine? Who doesn't want AI at all yet, right? That's something else you should be aware of when you think about rollout. And then as we go to the future, the things that we're working on and that we're trying to deliver within months, not years, is again, that customization of the personas, the right tone, everything through ChatAI. So that's what we're working on, basically meeting those two products in the middle and the point of this webinar. Again, omni-category content. I will underline this, meaning that we want to think beyond just tickets, reports, assessments, courses, applications. Where's my link to my my billing portal? Here you go. Stuff like that. It's not just printer requests, right? Even though those are still a foundation. No shade, they're all important. And then obviously the big picture for enterprise chat is getting to the level of familiarity where you are fully offering, down to routes, informations, and intelligence that takes you way, way beyond just like, again, I have this issue, but all the way down to let's talk about billing stuff. Let's give them a button that gives them all kinds of workflows to meet with an account manager and stuff like that, right? So we're refining a lot of these processes to make the chat tool really, really powerful. If I had to summarize it today, if the goal of today's webinar is to jump to that full self-service and you want to get stuck on the path to it and you want to make sure you're getting there, the two things to do: get Chat Starter, at least focus on that. Again, free, zero risk. Shameless plug for ServiceAI as I work on it, because again, what I'm finding is the assessment of your AI readiness, or rather your AI assessment of your general readiness for putting this stuff in front of clients, is critical. You don't want to just launch your entire resources or your notes over to your clients without fact checking them first. Like Chris was saying, that human element in the middle is pivotal. We're selling AI. We're trying to talk about AI. It's not a replacement for human beings, at least not for a long, long time. This is human eyes on to assist. That's where we're firmly at today. And that's where a lot of people are getting the best benefits. I will leave the questions open now because I see there's a couple coming through. So let me see if there's anything I would like to, bring that back to address. Chris, I assume there may be some for us. I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah.
Q&A. Okay, starter versus pro chat. Do they both allow a user to chat with an MSP? You tell me, Chris.
Yes, they do. So the starter, the main limitations of starter that you need to know is there's no AI, and the way you can put it in front of a customer is on the website or inside the UCP. That's what's in starter. Pro would add the potential for AI and also multiple and different client channels like Teams and Slack for your customers to use.
So truly the only difference is that starter has very similar capabilities. It comes down to like additional agents and stuff. It's really the AI that makes the bigger difference between the two, but the fundamental chat, like back and forth stuff, that exists even at the starter free version.
Yep.
So you still get to try that out and ensure you have a good habit building and experience. Second one from Tony: how are chat users verified? Are they going to get a pin if needed? How do you know you're talking to the right person? Do we have a good mechanism for that?
So inside the UCP, we are automatically passing the credentials over that the user has authenticated in to get into the portal. If you put it on a public website, we can verify chat users using either their email address or an SMS number. We go back to the PSA, look up their contact record, take them down a path that would let them open a ticket. If we can't find them there, but we can verify their email address or phone number using that PIN, then we can still work with them, live chat with them, just not as a known contact.
Sweet. Awesome. And then I saw another one come through as well, which was So the portal, like UCP, this is what Ryan's talking about here, can be added to Teams, which is honestly one of the more powerful deployments because, like I said, we're really big on meet them where they're at. Putting in Teams, it's right there. So when a client is chatting, are they chatting through the portal in Teams? Can they talk to Teams? Like, what does a client side initiation of chat look like?
Yes, so if you have added the chat widget to your portal and you have your portal in Teams on a tab, then they're chatting from Teams via the widget. Now, if you are using Pro, not using Starter, you can also install a bot separately from the portal tab or alongside it so that they can chat directly in Teams. But that's not in Starter.
So either way, it's like to facilitate that, either way works. Whatever you think your clients are more likely to hook onto is honestly worth it. So I think to add on to what Chris is saying, just because both are available, like that's cool. But again, I would think it's a hot take. This is live from Ricky's mouth. I don't know if it reflects CloudRadial's opinion, but I'm really, really, really conservative when it comes to new technology rollouts, especially as they go to client stuff. So even in UCP, chat's the same thing for me. I'm always a big advocate of start small, sample it. If they can use it and they get a good understanding of it. So again, if you have UCP and you want to launch it and start getting the chat widget in there, awesome. And you feel like you could really benefit from that AI upgrade and you want that standalone thing, then move over to that. But I think that if they're already in Teams and they're already using the portal in Teams that they're familiar, adding the chatbot in there and just having that pop up when it's embedded in there, it's pretty low risk. Seems like a pretty good way to give that a first shot and then tell them you did it. Tell them that you came up with a badass way of putting it in there, putting it in Teams as a bot. We don't mind. Take our credit.
Absolutely.
I believe that wrapped up the Q&A, which is very nice. So again, I will reiterate where you go from here. And I'm a big fan of scrolling back through all of my slides and just recapping because I always like to talk about what we talked about. If you are going after a revolutionary, and we don't use that word just like, oh, revolutionary chat. I mean, like literally, if you're trying to change the fundamental way you offer service, going from your very core basic, I handle tickets via phone and email, I would like to have a portal, I would like to have a chat interface, all the way to self-service, it's a journey. If anyone tells you it's a button flip, I would advise not listening to them, right? It takes a while. And understanding the connected technologies to get there is important for you because it's up to you to figure out what is worth it. How do you have your clients trained today? How do you want them to get to, and where is the best path? So again, the reason I come back to starting with the free chat, maybe chat and service AI, or even the portal, it's figuring out the fortes of the easiest point of entry, but everything else costs money and chat starter is free. So start with that, build those habits, and hopefully we'll see you on the other side. Let me see. Another question popped up. Let me see if I can answer that one before we got to go. Dean, hey, what's up, Dean? Homie of the company, Dean Laus, asked for the PA integration. What about the other RPA services like Roost? Roost is awesome, but they're a little busy, and we are waiting on them to work with us. So Pia is actively working with us, so it's why we're like, hey, Pia this, Pia that. But theoretically, we have no beef with anybody at all. I think that just came down to a resource thing with them. We're still waiting on Roost to work with us. If you want to poke at them and tell anybody at Roost, like a fist shake would be nice. Just be like, work with them. We need it. We want Roost stuff in there. There's no reason we can't. It's exactly the same type of integration. So a fist shake and a nudge would help me as a product dude out a lot. Thanks, Dean. Dean's my guy. Dean literally just, for those, I know you can't see it, but Dean was like, I'm on it. I was like, arigato, my friend.
Thank you, Dean.
Thank you, Dean. For anybody else, again, these webinars, I know they're short. I know there's 30 minutes. There's probably more questions raised than there are answered, but I want to say thanks to Chris for mostly being dragged around a bunch of webinars today. So I appreciate you. And if you guys have questions, anything else comes up, if you're an existing partner, I know Mike, at least one of the Mikes, there's a couple of Mike's account managers in here is in the comments. Reach out to your account manager, success@cloudradial.com if you don't know them. They'll tell you what the best path is for you, especially if you've got UCP, you've been playing with chat, you tried chat, you're ready to try it again. We've put a lot of work into making this better. And Chris has done a lot of work. I mean, what chat was, chat style, the original thing years ago, is really different than what it is today. I mean, again, there's a lot of work put into it, and a lot of work that we're going to put into it, future, revisions. So again, talk to your account managers, talk to SuccessNet, get another look at it. If you're brand new or you just want to get a better picture and you have specific questions, cloudradial.com/demo. I wish I had a slide, but it's literally all over the place. Just get a demo and talk to the guy that you talk to and just say, I want to look at chat, I want to look at Service AI. They know their different products and they'll be able to help you figure out exactly where it fits in your schedule, budget, all that kind of stuff. Thank you guys for joining us very, very much. I will now let you have a peaceful rest to your Tuesday, and I will catch you guys out in the field. Bye, guys.
Thanks.